everybody, welcome back to Habitat Kitchen. I'm Andrew Beauchamp and today we're making my grandmother's Rollie Pollies. Now where to begin? Okay, so my grandmother hasn't been with us for about 5 years now and we recently have started looking through a lot of her old cookbooks. Now in one of the cookbooks we have found just sketched in between two recipes her Rollie Polly recipe. I'll read you off the recipe. It is 2 cups of flour, 3 tablespoons of sugar, 5 teaspoons of BP, which I'm guessing is baking powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/3 of a cup of butter, and 1 cup of milk. And that's all we have. We do not have the baking temp, how thin we should roll it out. So we're kind of going in a little bit blind. I do know that it is a biscuit recipe, like the dough is a biscuit recipe. So that's easy to figure out because I know the method on making biscuits. They're delicious, and every single time, like whenever I made this recipe the first time, it's very nostalgic for me making my grandmother's recipe. And I hope you guys get that through the video, and I hope you guys can try the recipe too. But let me show you how they're made. Come on. So the first thing you want to do is get all your dry ingredients together. So put together your flour, your sugar, your baking powder, and your salt, and just give them a quick mix, get them nice and friendly with each other. And then take 1 cup of milk, or the equivalent of a plant-based milk if you'd like. If you want to make them vegan, this recipe can go vegan. And you're going to want to take that 1 cup of milk, and to just add a little bit of freshness to the dough, I'm actually improvising. I'm going to add the zest of 1 orange to that milk. And then you're going to want to go back to your flour mixture and put in your butter, or once again, the vegan equivalent to butter, the same amount. And you're going to cut that in. You can use a fork, or if you have a pastry blender, you can totally use that. I like to get in there with my hands and do the rubbing method, which just means you're taking up the dough, or you're taking up the flour, and you're just kind of rubbing the butter into it with your hands. Not too much, because you don't want to melt the butter. You just want to make sure that the butter is kind of cubed up and just spread out throughout the dough, not just all in one spot. After your butter is cut into the flour, pour in the wet ingredients and stir until just combined. Do not overmix your dough or your Rollie Pollies will be very tough. So of course I forgot to press start on the camera, so I didn't film myself rolling out these Rollie Pollies. Whenever I rolled it out, this dough is very easy to roll out. I just heavily floured the base whenever I put down the dough. And I love the fact that I can see, I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but the little flecks of orange zest in the dough. I think that is a very nice touch, and I'm very happy that we put the orange zest inside this recipe, because I think it's going to add just a little touch of freshness, a little zing of spring, because after all, we're officially in April. Let's get to actually loading these Rollie Pollies up with the butter and the cinnamon sugar, which is the best part, obviously. I'm just going to sprinkle 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar and then sprinkle on some cinnamon afterwards. You can totally also use nutmeg if you like nutmeg more, or you can do a mixture of cinnamon and nutmeg, is also very delicious. You can also sprinkle in something like raisins at this point if you want raisins throughout your Rollie Polly. That's something my Nana always used to do. I chose to opt out of that. Whenever you go to roll up your Rollie Pollies, keep the roll tight. It will help you whenever you go to cut them, and not to mention they look better after you bake them. I like to cut my Rollie Pollies about 1/2 inch thick. You can cut them a bit smaller or a bit bigger. Just note that that will affect the final cooking time. I tray these Rollie Pollies up, giving them plenty of room to spread out, and put them in a 350-degree oven for about 15 to 18 minutes. If you do change the size of the Rollie Pollies, That may vary a little bit, but pretty much until they're just golden brown on the sides. I'm so happy with how these turned out. They got the beautiful spiral, and they're just, I'm thrilled. They're perfect. And now what I'm gonna do is taste them with you to see if they're anything like what Nana used to make. Yo, they're so good. And by the way, this is how you eat. You peel them off. Just keep peeling. I know I said the orange zest is optional, but I highly suggest it. It just kind of gives it a little bit more brightness, and it really complements the cinnamon. These are so good. So, wow. They really are. They're fun to make, they're easy, they're quick. And now every single time I make these, Nana's gonna be in the kitchen with me, which is always wonderful. So I hope you guys can try this recipe and maybe even continue my family tradition and even maybe make it one of yours. So thank you so much for watching. I had a great time filming this one. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, Drew's Habitat. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Bye. As always, the recipe's in the bio.